I think firstly it's important to say that we fully embrace the principles of universal healthcare. There is no question that a vast majority of South Africans don't have access to good quality healthcare in South Africa that is also affordable. And it's incumbent on all of us to address this issue if we want to develop a sustainable and healthy society. So we're fully supportive of NHI and we're fully supportive of initiatives to improve access and care. How we are preparing as Netcare, we're working on developing a number of services and solutions that can bring affordable and accessible healthcare, particularly to those that are employed but uninsured. I'm not sure what the answer is to that, because I think we're still very unclear as to what NHI means in its entirety. I think we understand the principle of it, and there should be no reason why this then promotes an exodus or an exacerbation of doctors or nurses leaving our country. Yes, we've partnered with global IT giants Apple, with Deutsche Telekom, with IBM Healthcare Micromedics, with Capsule, and with SAP to develop South Africa and indeed Africa's first mobile digital electronic health record. And the entire idea behind this is to ultimately give patients and doctors access to a lifelong medical record that will be accurate and easily accessible. The beauty of this iPad, you can see it's mobile. You can access the record as a doctor or a practitioner away from the bedside. So you can get information if you're at home, or if you're in your surgery, or in your consulting room, or out for dinner, and you're able to see accurately what's happening with your particular patient and either change the medication or order more laboratory examinations or diagnostic tests. Ultimately, we want to give patients access to their own records so they can take co-responsibility and start participating more actively in their healthcare. The beauty of this system is that it's quick, it operates on 3G, there isn't any issues around downloading data, it's mirror technology, so it can work very quickly, and if this gets lost or misplaced, there's no data stored on this iPad, and it meets all of the popular requirements in South Africa. There's also digital electronic prescribing. It's the first proper e-scripting system available in hospitals across the African continent. And we think that this will aid us as we digitize across all of our networks, not just hospitals, but our primary care, KESO, our mental health network, cancer care, national renal care, and ultimately allow us to give patients their records on their smartphone. This is what a doctor would be confronted with. This is my own iPad of patients. I would come in and want to do a history and examination and assessment here. I've obviously done that already. This is the patient who's anonymized. It's a real patient in one of our units, and you can see up on the right hand side what the risk factors are and potential diagnoses, and unfortunately this patient also has a number of others. I may want to just click on this to understand more about the patient, and this tells you there are no drug allergies, what the risk factors are, length of stay, what the insurance plan is, what is the working diagnosis. This is a patient who came in with a CVA or stroke, who are the treating doctors, and if I scroll up on the iPad I can see more history, again live on the patient, and importantly who are the nurses and allied healthcare professionals who are treating this patient at the moment, and exactly when. All of this is date stamped from a data perspective they last saw the patient. Probably the most important thing I want to see, having spoken to a patient, I can do this in my rooms or away from the home or away from the bedside, is to understand what's happened to the patient over the last few hours, who's treated the patient, what orders have been carried out, and what procedures. And so I can go quickly into notes here and go look at the journal. Again, live into Mill Park, and you can see here at 9:36 this morning was last seen. There was some physiotherapy done, and these are the various different engagements that have occurred. Now, an outstanding feature of this clinical record developed by Deutsche Telekom, and you can see it by that asterisk, is that any orders that are given or carried out are automatically transcribed as journal notes. And you can see that within the trail of this patient. I can then go in and filter it, say, for instance, I only want to see the doctor and progress notes, or perhaps allied health professionals, and I can see all the notes that are now being written on this patient since that admission. I just want to spend 2 or 3 minutes showing you 1 or 2 other features. One of the unique features on this is medication. We are the first in Africa to provide fully fledged and total e-scripting. Doctors are able to prescribe medicine. This goes digitally to the pharmacy and is then prescribed to the patient, and you have a very accurate record of what's been prescribed. Here you can see the number of days that the patient has been on a variety of medicines, the dosage, the frequency. Because it has to be authorized by a doctor, a telephonic order can be given from home or from theatre, but it ultimately has to be authorized, and when it's authorized you see this yellow released sign coming up. And importantly, something we've never had before, but we now have in partnership with IBM Watson Micromedics, is the ability to see whether there are any drug interactions and to check the dosage, particularly of pediatric drugs. Critical in providing safe healthcare. And IBM Micromedics, Watson Micromedics, has the largest pharmaceutical database in the world, which we have cross-matched to every available drug in South Africa. Let me show you what that looks like. I push on drug alert over here. And this is a live system. You can see how quickly it connects. We can see there are 16 drug interactions, and you can see the drugs that are contraindicated in this case, major side effects or major contraindications. And it gives the ability of both doctors and pharmacists to input comments on this to ensure patient safety. Finally, or just almost finally, let's have a look at our orders. Let's take a look at lab results. Again, we can order digitally results from tests from the laboratory, and all of those results will come back. In this patient, the ones that are abnormal are in yellow, and in order to show the patient or to be able to demonstrate to other clinicians, we can graph those results. And let me show you one of those results. For instance, here is creatinine. You can see these are the normal levels, lower and upper levels, and you can see this patient clearly has abnormally high levels. I may want to find out more about that specific indication. Let's just press on one of these, and again I can find out exactly what is more detail on the specific lab result. And then lastly, a unique feature that we have invested in is that we are connecting all of our monitors, all of our anesthetic machines, our cath labs, all of our machinery, over 13,000 devices in Netcare, to this electronic medical record. So no longer do nurses have to spend lots and lots of time copying down what the monitors tell you. And here is an example of the live monitoring on this patient. This is non-invasive blood pressure. And as I scroll down, pulse, temperature, respiratory and general vitals. And all of this is automatically captured on the patient. Why is this important? In a normal ICU, we capture about 422 data points in a day. And actually we capture 422 data points. If we're recording that every 15 minutes, that's more than 12,000 data points a day. Humanly impossible to analyze or to record, yet this does this completely digitally. And ultimately we'll be able, with data analytics, to drive a lot of analysis and predictability behind it. Here's an example of the drugs that have been given and their dosages, and here you can see 2 drugs that weren't given by that X.
What I can gather from my patient's perspective, it's improved their care from their perspective as well. They see the nursing staff as being more engaged in their care, and I think they were excited by maybe the novelty of it, but also the fact that they are taking in a pilot project of something that's going to be something that's been rolled out across the country.